Okay, so before we jump into tonight's podcast, we have two amazing guests. Coach Travis Norfolk, assistant head basketball coach at Atlantic High School, also the JV head coach. And I will say this, the star player for Atlantic High School. I'm not saying they don't have other stars, such as Jordan, they have a lot of players. But we have Kevin Beans in here. And before we get started, we want to say thank you to Team Undisputed Clash of the Titans. It was a spectacular event. And,
very successful.
Yeah.
It went sold out. 2,000 people. Over 2,000 people. That's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Fit meals. They provided meals for almost every athlete that I know of, especially Night winning that championship fight. Pete White Boxing and MMA.
Yep.
And just make sure you guys check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Locked In with 2 N's. This podcast will go out, obviously, on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio. So tell a friend, subscribe, leave a comment, follow these guys, support Atlantic High School, support Beans, and hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, what's going on, everybody? We are live. Me, as always, Mac. Now we are joined by two guests. Oh, Sean, the producer.
What up?
And we are joined with two spectacular guests, Coach Travis Norfolk, Atlantic High School assistant head coach, and JV head coach. What's going on, Coach Travis?
Living the dream, man.
And we have Kevin Beans, star player of Atlantic High School. What's going on, Beans?
Woo! Star player, I like that.
Well,
like the Stephen Curry of the Warriors? That star kind of a player?
Actually, that's not a bad one because it's not just him. They have a great team full of stars. He's just a star on the team, so that's what I'm saying with Beans. I'm not trying to say there's no other star players on Atlantic. So
damn, pushing already.
Yeah, that's my point.
Controversy already.
You just never know. We're growing, so people nitpick on your words, phrases, living the stardom life.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
No, but what's going on? It's a pleasure to have you guys in today. So obviously, it's no secret what we're going to be talking about. And I want to just dive right into it. Atlantic High School, the team that we graduated from, the teams that we played for, both Dave and I.
Yep.
And actually, Beans was my teammate. That's 28-3 year. And we had two amazing games for Mainland. And that's two tough losses to Mainland.
Yeah, I don't think they were amazing games. I think they were bad games.
Well, amazing as in the magnitude of it. It was sold out. Okay. The gym was packed, both at Mainland and Atlantic. You could barely even... I hate being shoulder to shoulder with somebody where you're just it's hot and you don't have room. That's what both of those games were like.
Yeah, it hurts your stardom. I know.
Yeah, nobody can look at me. I don't stand out. So no, but both
somebody
those,
will mess with your hair.
Yeah, I have gel in my backpack. So when that happens, I just
they might step on your nice shoes.
Yeah, no, but luckily I was surrounded by good people, so they looked out for me. But so let's break it down. Let's talk about it. You guys, obviously, two tough losses to Mainland. Take us through those two games, and whoever wants to go first, the floor is yours. What happened, and how would you explain that?
I'll start. It was definitely an incredible atmosphere. Definitely a great atmosphere. Definitely something Volusia County's been sorely missing on the basketball scene. I got to give hats off to Mainland. I mean, they really came out. They had a great game plan. They went big. Johnny Brown had a great game. Made the game-winning layup. Former Shark hurt us with the pass. Davon Robinson found him.
That's right. Oh, man.
It was on a late scramble. Those plays happen. We made some turnovers in the last 2 minutes that hurt us. Missed a couple blockouts that if we make those plays, the game probably ends a little differently.
The little things.
It goes back to little things, and from the beginning of the season, that was something that we were doing really well. In these last 2-3 games, we've kind of gotten away from that. I know we've had sicknesses and illnesses, but every team's battling that. Mainland went through it at the MLK. They had two guys that Johnny Brown and RJ missed games there because of sickness.
Something's going around. You're sick. Dave's sick. Sean was sick. I was sick. Oh, yeah, okay, you're good. Something was going on.
I'm feeling great. It's just a little nagging cough, but we can't blame it on that. We have to get back to doing the things that we do well, taking charges, diving on the floor. When we were winning games, we were, averaging right around 20, 22 assists a game on 30 field goal makes. So
you guys move the ball really well. That's what I like about that team.
Yeah, and in these last 2-3 games, we just haven't had the same ball movement, haven't had the same intensity, and those are things these guys have to get back to doing. And the guys like Beans, DeWarren, Jordan, those guys that we lean on for leadership have to be the guys to really get the team back into that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I saw that end play. Did you guys trap?
That's what we talked about. Why? Why?
We trap. No. I'm so pro trap. I
No.
love it. It's Juper aggressive.
Let's go.
I want to
You say
win
Juper?
the game. Yeah. I just made that word up.
That was Jupiter.
I want to win the game, not lose the game. And if you put pressure on the kids, usually that could be a turnover steal. And if Atlantic is making the layup at the end, everyone's like, oh, wow, what a great call. It didn't go their way, but I absolutely love the trap.
Okay, well, this is where I'm going to disagree with you right off the bat. So I think throughout the game, Atlantic, you guys usually put pressure on the opposing team, and that does create turnovers. No argument there. But when the game is on the line, and what Mainland wasn't really out shooting you guys. I don't know the name, and this is no disrespect to the player, but their point guard, I believe he plays football too.
Teron Keith.
Yeah, he'll hit the three up top. So he hit one of the buzzer beaters during half, going into half under Warren.
That kid's a player.
Yeah, he could play. But my point being is they usually beat you off size because they're big. They have that 6'8" kid down low, and then you have the Moon. What, Moon, right?
Johnny Brown.
Johnny Brown. I'm thinking of Mooney from Haggerty. I don't know if you remember him.
Jackie
He was tall.
Moon?
No, but
Jackie
Johnny
Moon.
Brown. That's a sick name. But Johnny Brown. So they have height and length, which is layups. That's how they killed you guys. So my point being is,
When they win by one, that doesn't mean that.
well, I mean, they
killing
killed him in the paint. They didn't kill him off the perimeter.
Okay.
So if you trap, you're allowing someone to be open, and all they did was cut to the basket and crash boards. So if you trap, you're allowing that. They have height to see over the trap.
No, it was a good play, like Coach just said. The kid made a real good pass. It had to be a really good pass, a good catch, good layup. It had to be like 3-4 steps in a row. I like being aggressive. I want to win the game.
No, me too, but I'd rather give up a tough three than an open layup.
Yeah, and that's what prevent defenses in football. Super Bowl's coming up, so prevent defenses, that's when they let teams get back in. I want to keep that pressure on the whole game.
So Beans, when you take us back to that final play, obviously they hit the game-winning layup. When you guys came out of that huddle, is that something you talked to the other players about? Like as a leader, hey, let's trap, let's do that, or it just was kind of natural?
Actually, no, they trapped on their own. Like the ball was coming down, and there was only a few seconds left, and then our moms was like, "Oh, trap," because it was a loose ball. So we all had went after it, and
So
then that made
natural.
somebody. Yeah, it was natural. We ain't playing it, but we should have just went back into a zone instead of all going out
Mhm.
and everybody everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard because I think at some point your basketball instincts
Yeah.
take over
Yeah.
because if you go back and see that last play, it's not like everything was crisp ball movement. It was
Hectic
a fumbled
play.
pass.
Yeah.
It was a scramble. Now, we trust our guys to make the right basketball play. We give our guys a lot of leeway in that. And he got the ball off with .1.
It was
So,
even
I mean, it
debatable
was-
that he didn't get it
Yeah,
off.
and we saw the film afterwards, and he got it off. And
Oh, okay.
it's one of those things that in that situation, I feel like that's probably 50-50 at best that they get that play off. So, I don't think we can take anything away on that last play, on anything that we did wrong necessarily. I think it was the plays leading up to that last play is what hurt us.
I do want to put somebody on blast, and I've called out a couple people, and the person I'm calling out is the ref, because whether you say it beat the buzzer or not, you can't really take back that call after everybody storms the court. So let's assume even they did beat the buzzer, Mainland wins, there's no argument. A coach has the right to go up to a referee and just address the situation with him. He put his hands around his ears and walked off the court. I feel like that was so disrespectful because even if you're not going to change your call, even if you're not going to debate with him, I feel like you owe that as a respect to talk to the coach about it. And you don't have to agree with me. I'm not trying to put you on the hot seat, but I just felt like that was so disrespectful for the ref to just walk away and not even look Coach Howard in the eyes. It just bothered me. I'm like, come on now.
I definitely agree with that. I do know that in those situations, those guys are told to get off the floor as fast as they can.
Really? Oh, yeah, you're a ref?
I did referee for about 15 years, so
Yeah.
That's tough on them in that situation. A1 does a pretty good job of their officials being approachable and whatnot. Some of them are not. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and act like everything is gravy. They have their weaknesses the same way, coaches, players do.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think sometimes they give enough respect to certain matchups in terms of putting their best crews on the game.
Which is ridiculous to me. But
I agree. I definitely think, you got to have your strongest crews. When it's mainland, Atlantic, there's going to be, it's packed.
that has surpassed the Atlantic Creek rivalry. So now that is the rivalry of the town.
It definitely feels that way. It definitely feels that way. That was the game that everybody has been hyping up. And Creek has had some struggles this year. It's been kind of a transition year for them. Some guys have transferred out. They've had guys hurt, new coach, new system. That they're, I know they're trying to do the best they can out there. But yeah, Mainland has just kind of stepped up and they got some players. Teron Keith is a hell of a guard. Davon plays great defense. Johnny Brown that kid's a tough cover. 6'7", shoots the three pretty well and can get inside and finish. And then, as far as athletes go, I don't know that there's a better athlete in our county than RJ.
He explodes. He has springs in his legs.
Yeah, he takes off. I say, there's probably 2 or 3 guys in this county that you don't jump with if they're barreling to the basket. He's probably one. I'd say DeWarren's probably one.
Beans, you should be up there. You're 6'5", can jump. Come on now.
I don't think you really want to try and take off with Marlon Bradley from Deltona. And obviously Colin at 6'11" makes life easy above the rim. But there's some guys that that can really play, and I think that's the difference between us and Creek right now. And our district is murderer's row. There's not a gimme any night of the week. Top to bottom, there's Division I talent on just about every roster in our district. New Smyrna's had a struggle because of some injuries, but they got Nick Hurd, Embry Riddle, signee, Fab Five player. We have Jordan Beans, DeWarren, Kenny, those guys. Mainland talent from top to bottom, Deltona top to bottom. So
I feel like Mainland. Mainland played. They're a good team. They're a solid team. And Coach Joe did a really good job. Yeah, they're a tough, physical team full of athletes. I think what they do, they match up with you guys really well. And I'm not saying one team is better than the other as far as skill set or players, but as far as matchup-wise, it's like you have somebody that clogs the paint, and then you have long, rangy guards who is just so hard to get. They guard all the passing lanes. So then every time somebody drives, it's like you're swarmed by 5 people.
Exactly, and that's they're unlike a lot of teams in our district in that regard, is that they are so long 1 through 5.
They force you to take long 3-point shots.
They do, and we've done a pretty good job of hitting those shots. Our guys put in the work. Our guys get in the gym, get extra reps up, and that's that's a big key to it. But I think 2 games. I think total point differential is 4. I think it's, it's tough. But it's anybody's district. Deltona's beaten Mainland. Lopez has beaten Mainland. Lopez has beaten us. Lopez, I think, got Deltona earlier this year too. So,
yeah.
1 through 5, 7-team district, 1 through 5 can come out of that district no problem. And I don't think it would really shock people.
Beans, as a leader of the team, now obviously your role on the team has changed since when I was a senior, you were a freshman. As arguably the best player on the team or one of the best players on the team, is it hard, what is your role in the locker room when your team is on a 3-game losing streak, when a team normally is just winning game after game after game after game? Do you find it hard to pick your team up, or is that something that you're really trying to do more than ever this year?
Both, because if I'm trying to pick my team up, doing the good and the bad, because we're on a 3-game losing streak, but that don't mean that we can't come out on top in district time, because when districts come, that's when it's anybody's game. If you win, you can beat the team. If you lose, you go home. But in this 3-game losing streak, me, DeWarren, Jordan, we're going to have to bring our team up, because if we don't, we're going to keep on this losing streak. And if we keep on this losing streak and we get the district, we're probably going to lose then. And we don't need all that because we're trying to go to states.
I like that. Do you guys think, question for both you guys, do you think there's an upswing in the talent in the kind of the 386 area?
I definitely think there is.
I definitely feel there's this momentum. Like you said, there's a lot of Division I players out there right now.
There's a lot of really good young players.
Your team's young.
I mean, we only
Yeah.
have 3 seniors.
Oh, my son Colin, 5.5 years old, already got the crossover. We got, I'm showing him the left-hand layup.
Giving them the whole package.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We have a lot of 2020 guys playing varsity for us right now. I know Malin's got a lot of young guys. I think the only team in our district, well, the 2 teams that are probably most senior heavy in our district are, I know New Smyrna is very senior heavy. I think they graduate 4 starters. And Lopez, obviously, anytime you graduate a Michigan signee, there's probably going to be a drop off the next year.
Yeah.
And we have, I'll make Colin a nice freshman year basket and anything to get him out of the district, we're good with.
Okay, you mentioned Colin. So when you guys first played Lopez, I don't know the exact score, but it seemed like you beat him by 30-plus points. And I'm sure you remember the score being. But my point being, you guys really guarded him very well. I'm sure as part of the game plan, how are you going to lock down the best player on the other team? Now, you guys just recently lost to this team, Lopez. How do you go from beating a team by 35 to losing, and what role did he play in that? Knowing that it's almost like you solved the puzzle of guarding him and how to shut him down. What happened?
He's the kind of kid that if he gets it going early, he could go for a big night. I mean, he's had 2 43-point games this year.
Holy crap.
He got an open look early, hit it, and then he hit one in front of our bench where honestly we couldn't have defended him any better. I mean, hell, the shot went in and he said, "Oh my God!" Then he ended up getting a dunk down the middle of the lane.
He's smooth too.
Yeah,
he's not just tall.
He's talented. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But when he gets it rolling early, he's tough. I think on the week he averaged like 28, 14, and 6 blocks. So I mean. He puts up when he gets it rolling. He's tough, and he's at 6'11". He shoots it high, so you're not going to block his shot. And I know last year when we played them in the district playoffs, he got us for 27. And I mean, honestly, I thought we played great defense. And I mean, the kid finished with 27. He couldn't get anything going in that game that we played him. And then I gotta give a shout out to one of my guys that plays for Lopez. And he texted me during the day, and he told me what was coming. And
both you guys made a smirk.
I didn't believe him. He's a sophomore. He played AAU for me last year. Lex Delgado got us for 18. And he's a tough guard. He can shoot it. He's just nice, physical. If you saw him walking down the street, you wouldn't pick him. I mean, you wouldn't pick him out to say, "Oh, that's a great basketball player." He's not big.
Mentality.
He is a physical, scrappy guard, and he made, like I said, we have to get back to doing the little things. There were 2 plays that he made in that game. He dove on a loose ball in the middle of the lane, got the ball, kicked the ball out from the floor. They hit a 3, and then
momentum change.
Yeah, and it's a momentum swing. And then he did the same thing in the 4th quarter, and then he hit a couple threes in the 4th, and he was the guy to kind of keep them. We took the lead in the 4th, and he was the guy that just brought them back in. So he's a tough guard. I've liked that kid ever since I saw him play in 8th grade. He had some eligibility issues, but I think he's got those fixed.
Good for him.
And he's a good piece for them. He is. He's a really good piece for them, and a great kid.
Beans, you're one of, I think first of all, to only just be named as one of the best players in the area is just like an elite class of its own. There's only a handful of people that could say that, as we mentioned, like the Nick Hurd, Colin, you, RJ. When I think your game is different though, because like we'll talk. I know you see the chat that we have, and it's like you are a hustle player, but yet you have the skill set and the frame of a star player. So I think that's what makes you a little different than everybody else, because you're used to like playing against older people, bigger people, and you have to scrap to get your buckets. But for you, what do you have to work on in order to be the best player? Because you have the height, you have the length. You have the basketball IQ. You have the hustle, the mindset. So what is stopping you from being unstoppable?
Working on my pull-up jumper and basically working on my handles more, because if I'm going to be a guard, I need to be playing the guard position and working on my handles, because everybody now is like shorter, and so they can handle the rock better than I can. But if I keep working on that, I'll probably be up there in the top 2 instead of just the top player in the county.
And especially in college, because when you want to play college ball, you're not going to be – well, you may be a 3, but that's probably at most. You're definitely not going to be a 4 or 5. You're going to be 1 or 2, so you have to have
Even
a –
threes now, they got a handle.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to be able to
Yeah.
shoot the ball.
And especially in college, your 3-man is usually your most athletic guy on the floor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say this for Beans. There's really not a guy that I know of that works harder. 6 a.m., that guy gets in the gym, gets his reps up, gets his shots up. And that's something that he's worked really hard on. The book on Beans' freshman, sophomore year was
Sag off.
sag off. Let the
Bet.
guy shoot the ball. That was the book. That was
Yeah.
the book on him. And now he's really making guys pay. And he's become more assertive in his offensive game. So, when he's and me and him have had this conversation a ton that I tell him, like, his points are going to be there because he outworks most guys at his spot. But he's got to rebound for us, and he's got to make the hustle plays because our guys just feed off him. If Beans is making the hustle play, diving on the floor, taking a charge, doing little things, it seems like everybody just plays that much harder.
You set the tone as a leader. And if you could shoot, they can't sag off, and if they play up on you, you can go by them.
Yeah,
So it's like, I'd just be in the gym shooting my butt off.
basically.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
So you were 3-4. What position you playing now?
3 and a 2.
Okay. Because that's one of the biggest things I've always noticed. I think I was talking to one of the coaches before is how difficult do you think that's going to be to transition? Because in high school, everybody is a little bit shorter. When you get to that, everybody starts to get that tall. They always throw the big, the 6'6" guy is the center because he's the tallest kid in the school.
Yeah.
But he's playing 5 or 4 or 5, and when he gets up in college, he's going to be expected to pay 1 or 2. So are you trying to transition to maybe focus on that a little bit more? 'Cause
Yeah.
You're getting there next year. You're going to be playing college.
Yeah, next time I'm going to be a senior.
Oh, I thought you said you were.
No,
a senior
yeah,
this
he's
year.
a junior.
I'm a junior
so
this
it's like
year.
you're already on this level as a junior.
Yeah.
It's like,
All right.
well, what's holding you back your senior year? So it's
Yeah. Well, there you go.
what was your both you and coach? I want you to go first, Beans. So as the leader of the team, what was your goal going into the season, and then where you're at now? Has that goal changed? Is there adjustments that have to be made? Where do you like where you're at right now as a team?
As a team, no, but my goal haven't changed for the team because all we need to do is get back to where we was in the beginning of the season. In the beginning of the season, we started off real good, and we was like unstoppable. No team really come beat us. And if we did lose, we lost by under 5 points. We haven't really lost by 10 points or double digits this whole year. But then now we just started losing, which is crazy because we work our butts off in practice every day.
And why do you think you're losing? Like, it's just, like Coach says, not doing the little things, miscommunication?
Yeah, I think it's just not doing the little things, and we got out of our elements. Because I think we got big-headed, and now we just need to get back focused and back on the grind. And I think that if we do that and start working hard in practice again and boxing out and doing everything little, like he said earlier, I think we can go far in the playoffs or go and win state.
How about you, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, our goal's always been Lakeland or bust. I mean, that's been the goal for the last 3 years for us. And these guys have, DeWarren, Beans, those guys have been there. They played in that tough first-round Lake Gibson home game, down 9 with 2 minutes left, and had to figure out a way to get it to OT.
That's crazy.
That's
Came
crazy.
back.
And, they lost that tough game to Deltona.
Yeah, so
And
that.
I
So
and I
crazy.
kind of look at this team, and like I told them, I said, well, maybe this is our Deltona year, because if you remember your senior year, Deltona went through a late season struggle. They lost like 3 or 4, and then
They pulled
went
it
on
together.
a run straight
Yeah.
to the Final Four, and played Dillard actually pretty tough.
I heard, right? Well, I mean, that was just ridiculous. Evan and Blake is just
Yeah, I mean, and that's tough. But I mean, our goal hasn't changed. And
Yeah.
last year we ran into Edgewater, which was
Tough.
I mean, they got a guy that they're talking about going to be drafted in the first round of the NBA draft this year.
really.
Yeah, he's at
Anthony Simmons.
Yeah, Anthony Simons. He's
Yeah,
at
Simons.
IMG, I think.
And
now.
that's who you
Yeah.
guys may face in the
Well,
playoffs?
no, we played them last year. We played him last year, and we lost. And we had them tied at halftime, and then they just ended up hitting shots. And so our goal hasn't changed. Our goal is still to win the district. make a run in the playoffs. And, this year, more so than probably in the last couple years, 7A is a little bit more wide open. Dillard's best player transferred. They've got like 8 losses, which I can't remember last time I've ever seen a Fort Lauderdale Dillard team with 8
Dillard's
losses.
always been amazing.
Yes. I mean, their coach, I think, has 8 or 9 state titles.
That's
Edgewater moves
crazy.
up a class, so they're not in there anymore. And so, I think a team that comes out of Volusia County, things are going to have to go right to get there. Teams out of Orlando, just, I use them as examples for these guys all the time. Like, the teams out of Orlando just go. Like, those guys just play. I mean, they play their tail off.
Why does everybody? What makes Orlando so? You hear that it's like, okay, Orlando players or Orlando teams. What makes Orlando separate from teams here?
I think we get kids that get comfortable. I think they get accolades in town. And these, I don't mind saying this in front of them because these guys know I keep them 100% with them all the time about it. But those guys just go. Like, they don't. It doesn't matter if they're a top 10 player in the state. They don't take possessions off. Oak Ridge is probably the best team in the state of Florida right now, and they got a point guard that's a Division I guy. They got a kid going to LSU, Emmett Williams, who's phenomenal. But Emmett Williams,
That's how they're brought up.
Huh?
That's how they're brought up, I feel.
I feel like there's also no easy game in Orlando. I mean, we played
Competition.
Iron
We played,
sharps iron.
we played Lake Highland Prep.
Should have beat them.
We played Lake Highland Prep. They're like 16-6 right now and rolling. We played Apopka, who knocked off Orlando Christian Prep, which won the state title last year. Like, there's not an easy game in Orlando. Like, you don't go over to Orlando and get any gimmies. Like, there's not.
The competition is just unreal.
So I think it's, there's just, there's a dude in every game over there. You know what I mean? And I think our guys get comfortable, and I think we got guys in our area that just expect things handed to them. And those dudes in Orlando don't expect to hand it to them. They go and take it. And I think that's the big difference.
And that's the mindset you're trying to
that's
develop
the mindset
in
we
Atlantic.
want. Yeah.
I got a question for you, Travis. Do you like being the head coach of JV, or do you like being the assistant coach of varsity more?
Man.
That's a tough one.
Man,
with it.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
And what is your 3-5? What's a 10-year goal? Do you want to coach Duke? Like, you want to coach college, big end, high end basketball? Do you want to coach? Yeah, you're cool with coaching Atlantic, Mainland.
College.
Coach Howard's got a career. Here
I would
in the
definitely.
3-6.
I definitely want to become a high school varsity coach. That's my plan, and I've talked with Howard about that, and I've been lucky to get to coach under him.
Yeah.
He gives me a lot of leeway in games to make calls. He's let me make subs at the end of games, make different defensive changes at the end of games. He gives me a lot of leeway.
That's awesome.
And it comes from the trust and the fact that I put in the work for it. I tell my kids all the time, there's not a harder working coach in the area than me. And then I always throw my boy out there, Coach Gaines at Calvary.
We had him on the studio.
I personally don't think there's anybody harder working than me and him. So to answer your question, JV can be hard at times, only from the fact that if kids don't buy in on a JV level, they don't get it. Last year I was blessed. I mean, I think I had 8 kids that played JV for me that are playing varsity either
It
for
was
us
stacked.
or somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, I had Kenny, Kendall, Sebastian, Javon Sykes, Tyler Cott. They all play varsity for us now and play. Like, they get minutes.
Yeah.
And I actually had Jordan until Lee got
I'm
hurt.
about to say Jordan played JV for a little bit, right?
I had him for one game. He had 26
hurt.
points in 12
He got
minutes,
hurt.
and that was pretty much the end of his JV experience.
That's what I think I would be frustrated with. If you coach them up and then they have a great game, great week, great 2 weeks, they're in varsity. They're gone.
But that's my goal.
Yeah, of course.
I tell my kids all the time, I don't care about my record. Like, last year I was blessed. I was loaded. We went undefeated. Knocked off an undefeated Creek team in the last game. But that doesn't mean anything if my guys don't move up to varsity.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean anything. So the fact that I get my kids in the gym, we work all summer long. We don't take days off. Howard actually had to threaten to fire me at the end of the summer if I didn't take time off.
Holy crap.
So he goes,
It got
Travis,
crazy
I'm going
down
to
there.
take your keys. I'm going to fire you if you don't take some time and spend some time with the family. I have
Ball is life.
Yeah. My fiance, who's here with us, when we first started dating, this is a funny part of it, goes, so like basketball, I go, oh, basketball's just like a hobby. So I had to tell her like a little lie to like reel her in first. But now, you know, her and her.
That's like fishing. You like put the
Yeah.
nibble
Yeah,
out, you put a little cheese and cracker
You
on
don't
it.
reel them in real quick either, you know, it's like a slow process. But now her and her daughter are at every game that they can possibly come to. So as far as coaching in college, I don't think I'd want to be away from my family the way that requires.
Yeah, it's tough.
One of my best friend coaches Clayton State in Georgia, which is an NCAA Division II. He's actually looked at some of our guys. He's on the road a lot, and
Yeah, that's
he's got 3 kids, and you know they're all young. They're like 3, 5, 7, I believe. So he's missing a lot of them growing up. One of my best friends was St. Augustine High's coach, and he quit because he didn't want to miss out on his son growing up. So for me, I don't think college is the end game. Maybe if the right situation arose, but it would absolutely take my family saying, yes, let's go for it, let's do it.
Gainesville's
Before I would
a
ever make
beautiful city right there in Gainesville, Florida. They have a pretty good college basketball
Oh,
program.
man, I'm a
Just throwing
Florida
it out
State
there.
guy, Dave. I'm sorry, man.
Oh,
I'm a
man.
Florida State guy.
All right, so that's the end of the show, guys. Have a great night.
I'm gonna mute Dave's mic and I'm gonna boost you up a little bit.
No, but that's incredible. And who do you guys? What's your schedule looking like? And how many more games are left of the season?
We got Deltona on Wednesday at home. Then we play Creek Friday at home. That's our senior night.
Come out, everyone. Come out to
Yeah.
Atlantic High School. Support the team. Support the kids. It's senior night. Spend $5-10. Get a hot dog. Get a sandwich. Get whatever. Support Atlantic.
Probably some
All right.
hot wings. I think we'll have hot wings that
Yep,
night.
with some
Oh,
fries.
that
Gotta
reminds
have them
me,
fries.
Coach. I wanted to thank you on the show. So I go into the gym, look, and there's locked in on that awesome table screen that you guys have.
Yeah, we
I was going to talk to you about it if maybe there's something we could work out. And I'm like, these guys just know me.
No, man, we got to take care of alumni, and especially you take care of us. But you know, at Atlantic, we like to try and stay, one step ahead. We were the first team in the area that
was
putting
unreal.
putting the advertisers on the floor, and then we got those 2 beautiful scores tables, 2 70-inch screens on it.
Atlantic High
So
School is
I
locked
want
in.
I'm sure Coach Howard would have to talk about this. Beans will have to address it with his team. It'll take some thinking and some thoughts and discussions. But I feel, Dave, this is, of course, off script as always.
Oh, that's what we do.
Whether it's this year in the playoffs or maybe next season, since you're going to be returning,
Yeah.
I would love to see you just like locked in on the warm-ups somehow. Or, like locked in T-shirts. Like imagine you just walk in, all of a sudden you see like locked in T-shirts everywhere. It's like, okay, come on now. I was gonna ask Jordan if Jordan's like, oh, I'd love to have a locked in T-shirt to warm up in. I'm like, okay, let's see. And then I forgot the shirt, and he didn't ask Coach Howard, so things.
Yeah, and Coach Howard's not
one
he's not an
Yeah.
individual guy, so it would probably have to be all or none. That's always been his thing. These guys, we have like warm up jackets that they got,
Yeah.
and oh man, it's a fight in the locker room sometimes because they'll be like, all right, we're wearing our jackets, and of course, always there's one guy, oh, I forgot mine, and then everybody just gets mad. And
I know, yeah, I don't want to mess up with your sponsors because I'm sure your warm-ups have certain sponsors, and I'm not asking every single night, but one night, just I'll come out and support, maybe do a live podcast at Atlantic.
We have a
with
locked in
warm-ups.
night. We have people.
Yeah,
coming.
locked
yeah, I'm
in
sure
night,
that's
man.
something we could definitely work out with you guys. We'd love to
Playoffs,
have
I'm
you guys
feeling
out.
that.
Damn.
Friday.
Okay,
Probably.
so
We got to get on that
Hot wing
Spreadshirt
locked
site.
yeah. But that'd be awesome.
What's the
It's like shop.spreadshirt.com/locked-in, something like that. It's on the. It'll be at the bottom of this podcast. There's a link in the description, so just
Buy a
click on
T-shirt.
that. Yeah,
that helps with my son with diapers.
yeah. You can even buy kids shirts.
I like that. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
you
back
don't
to
seem
the
like a cloth diaper kind of guy.
Oh, that ain't me. Nope.
He's not a
So
diaper
what's-
guy at all.
I throw away.
What's next for you? Like, obviously, you have high school, and you want to win a state championship. Next year, you want to win a state championship. Do you have, like, obviously, goals is the word for it. What's your goals towards your high school career? Is it to win 2 state championships, or is it to just your main focus is to go into a good college?
It's just to go into a good college so I can get my education and then probably go play overseas or in the NBA so I can make more money and take care of my family.
Man, that's deep. That's
Big time.
deep.
That's a good answer right there.
Yeah,
I like
love
that.
Speaking about the NBA, you guys saw the All-Star draft? Team LeBron, Team Curry. Please tell me everyone on this table is pro LeBron on that,
Yeah.
right?
Team Bron.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
be honest
Team
with you. Like,
LeBron,
Trash.
I'm gonna
Team
be
Bron.
honest. I'm gonna be
Trash.
honest. Like
Oh, no, here
threes
we
are
go.
worth more than two. So I mean, like LeBron and them can dunk, but Curry and them are shooting it from 30 feet.
We got
Shooting
KD
over-
though.
Yeah, but they're shooting over a
Right.
6'10" 2 guard.
Hey, man, hey, if Boogie can go down, any of them can go down. So I mean,
Damn, rest in peace. Torn Achilles. That
No,
sucks.
and
Because
then you
Pelicans,
heard-
they were playing good.
Yeah, they
they
Yeah.
were
were.
playing good ball.
They're paying $100,000 to each winner on the All-Star team.
I
So
mean,
is the game going to be more competitive now?
I'll take LeBron only because he's got Russ. And
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
Russ
my
just
boy.
isn't gonna let
Rice.
somebody lose.
Oh, you're a Russ
Yeah,
fan?
I'm an Oklahoma.
They got
fan.
Russell, Kyrie, Durant, and LeBron.
And
like
PG.
in an All-Star
Anthony
game.
Davis.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like those guys are going to want to play more. It's just no Team LeBron. I don't know how he drafted that team. I know he's the greatest basketball player ever. Now he's the greatest GM ever.
He's gonna
This
be
is
the owner of
crazy.
the
He's
team
going
this year.
down.
So are we going to see like a 200-point game?
I don't think so. I think you're going to be like 150 to like 160, maybe 150, 140.
Nobody plays defense in the All-Star.
That's what I'm saying.
Ever.
There's never
$100,000?
defense.
Never.
Until the last 5 minutes. Well, it's 100,000, but when you're making like 30 million a year, like
That's a good point, but not all of them are.
no,
Most of them
but
are
most
All-Star, but
those
the young
in the
guys.
All-Star team are making some coin.
Yeah.
But I do think defense will ramp up a little bit more
Yeah.
than usual. But because usually it's let's just throw the ball around and then in the last 3 minutes we'll try and play some defense and make it look good.
Yeah, and sometimes it's too late.
Right.
Especially you're playing against All-Star, so it's even you D up James Harden. James Harden does what he does. He's going to get points on Durant or LeBron if they guard him. Talking about D'ing up, how about that big trade, Max?
Blake Griffin?
Yeah.
I'm so off Blake Griffin. Like, I'm probably the most anti-Blake Griffin out of anybody.
But to the Pistons, they only gave up Bradley and Tobias Harris for him. I think that's a good trade. They got a
And they give it their first round pick too, right?
Detroit.
Yeah.
So you like that?
Nah, I'm just saying they gave
Who
it
do you
up.
think won the trade?
Pistons.
The
I think the
Pistons.
Pistons won that.
Anytime
Yeah.
you get the best player in the trade, you win the trade. Who won the trade right now, Boston or Cleveland? Boston. They got the best player in the trade right now,
Cleveland.
Kyrie.
I'm going to say the Clippers won it. I'm going to tell you why the Clippers won this. Because, look, Blake Griffin,
Sean, turn that mic down.
first of all, Blake Griffin hardly plays anymore. So he's always injured. So your best player isn't like a guy who's coming off a finals game-winning shot like Kyrie Irving, who's no longer injury-prone as much. You're getting off a guy who's always injured. It's his back. It's his knees. It's his hips. It's something. He punches a guy. And like a trainer, he punches him. Now he's suspended. Okay. So first is you're getting someone who's injury-prone. And when
Good
you're
point.
big, you typically don't ever stop getting injury-prone because you're so big, all the pressure on your joints, your knees. Secondly, if I'm the Clippers, it's not working with Blake Griffin. Like, that's obvious. It's not going to work with him. You had Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I want to move on from him. So that's another second check. And also, it's a guard-oriented league. So now, I'm not saying Tobias Harris is amazing, but it's just a wing guy who can shoot threes, who can guard, more fast-paced, to go with Lou Williams. I think they're actually trying to trade him. But my point being is I think they're going towards not total rebuild where they go in the draft like they tank, but they're trying to acquire a fast-paced team who can hit threes and play defense. And Blake Griffin doesn't do any of that.
Isn't it crazy that a guy like you just said, Lou Williams, is having a career year and they're trying to trade him? Seems like guys like Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, Isaiah Thomas, like these guys ball out, have amazing seasons, but then teams are always trying to trade him, move him on.
Dude, I think Lou Will's going to go to the Cavs with DeAndre Jordan. But do you think he's an all-star snub?
No.
Not at all.
Who, Lou Williams?
Yes.
No.
I mean, yeah,
Is he an all-star
there's
snub?
something about Lou Williams
no.
being in an all-star jersey that just
No,
Yeah,
he's
it doesn't
not.
seem right.
yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It was like when Dana Barros made it, like way back when, or Tyrone Hill, like guys that are like
Dana Barrow's good. I
Like,
like that. That's
yeah,
old school right
like,
there.
guys that you're just like, really? Like you made an all-star team? Like
especially
that happened?
Especially with the people that you have in the league. He's not an all-star. And everyone's like, oh, one of the biggest all-star snubs. It's like, no.
I mean, he's having a huge year. I mean, but I don't. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to go to your Clipper point though. Do you think it's Chris Paul? Because that guy can't get out of the first round no matter where he plays.
Let's go.
We started
Let's
this
go.
huge debate, right? And I even I think I even texted you. And I'm like, Chris Paul is an all-time point guard, but he's definitely underachieved.
Travis.
And
Coach
I've
Travis.
had multiple people agree with me. Multiple people agree with Dave. If my point is
Lower.
this, if you're an all-time great point guard, you have Blake Griffin when he was young as an all-star, DeAndre Jordan's an all-star, and you haven't gotten to the Western Conference Finals, That is a huge blemish on him.
Didn't you just bash Blake Griffin? So
I'm bashing Chris Paul more.
No.
Has Chris Paul underachieved?
Yeah.
No way, guys. Okay.
You really have.
Chris Paul, he was a New Orleans Pelican. They didn't have any
At the
history
time.
before them or past them. They haven't won a playoff game since Chris Paul got traded. Okay. Then Chris Paul goes to the Clippers. Travis and I are on the same age group. You guys are a little bit younger.
Don't pull that.
You guys are a little bit stronger.
Do not pull that.
You guys don't remember the
Google.
Clippers. The Clippers were the worst NBA franchise for 20 straight years.
They were bad.
Yes, they were.
Not like they never made the playoffs. They were Sacramento Kings right now, guys.
Yes.
They were horrible. Chris Paul goes to the Clippers. They make the playoffs 6 straight seasons, the most in Clippers history.
Okay.
And then if it's bad luck that he's in the West. If he's in the East, Chris Paul wins multiple playoff series, goes Eastern Conference Finals. It's unlucky he's in the West.
Oh.
No, I'm coming with it. San Antonio, Golden State, Houston. It's unfair. OKC when they had Durant and
Okay.
Westbrook. So
That's
it's
boy.
no fault to him. Now he's on Houston. He's going to win playoff series. Him and Harden and D'Antoni, they got a good roster. They're going to win a playoff series or series.
Okay, so you said it's a tough West, right?
Yes, sir.
And he went to a terrible franchise who's never won before.
Facts.
Okay, and LeBron's the GOAT, but that's a terrible franchise who's never won before. LeBron changed it around. James Harden, he made it to the Western Conference Finals, and the only All-Star he had on that team was someone with a bad back named Dwight Howard. He leaves. He still goes past to the second round with no All-Star in his team, and he
Okay.
still leads and turns around a team. If Chris Paul is an all-time point guard, he should have at least gotten to the Western Conference Finals. Even Carmelo Anthony has done that, and Carmelo Anthony is not a winner.
Carmelo Anthony won a national championship. So people that want to always bash on Carmelo Anthony, not a winner, win a national championship, that's tough. And he was the best player in the Final Four. He was the best player in college basketball that year.
And he's going to a Houston team, so it's like, oh, now he made it to the Western Conference Finals. Okay, he joined James Harden and the team that was already going to go to the Western Conference Finals.
Kevin Durant, one of the greatest NBA players ever, will go down as a top 10 player ever. Never won a championship. He went to Golden State.
He went to the finals without going to Golden State.
I know, but he didn't win
Yeah,
the
but we
championship.
lost to them too.
Okay, but he went to the finals as the guy. Chris Paul didn't go to the finals and then go to some other team.
You just threw up Chris Paul with your 3 examples. I'm using your words: LeBron James, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. So
He's an all-time great. He's underachieved, is my point.
I just think you're putting them against all time. Like LeBron, best ever. Durant will be
If
the
you're
6th
an
best
all-time
ever.
great, you get compared to all-time greats.
There was a time where
Yeah.
Chris Paul was talked about as a top 5 guy in the league. And,
Exactly.
And I feel like if you're a top 5 guy, you got to get to the second round. Like, I don't. He doesn't have to get to the
Coach.
He doesn't have to get to the Western Conference Finals for me. But it was like you got to get out the first round. I mean,
He had 2 all-stars on his team.
You don't think, for one, they're 2 All-Stars because of Chris Paul.
More
That's
like,
not true.
more
Yeah,
like
Emeka
3
Okafor.
All
That's not
Stars.
true.
didn't he have Emeka Okafor? Like
Yeah.
when Emeka Okafor was like
he had,
decent,
and
like,
he had Doc Rivers as
I'm
the
not-
head coach.
Wait, guy. Emeka
Yeah,
Okafor, come
yeah.
on, Travis.
I
Travis,
totally
no.
just realized what I just
Okay,
said.
thank you. That was out
And
loud.
that's why I went to Doc Rivers as the head coach.
And then secondly, he had Tyson Chandler. Look at Tyson Chandler before Chris Paul and after Chris Paul. Look at DeAndre Jordan before Chris Paul, and now let's look
Tyson
at him after
Chandler
Chris
won a
Paul.
championship on the Mavericks.
No, I know. I'm not saying he's an awful player, but his best stat year ever, his best NBA
Carrying
season.
Dirk's bags though.
Yeah, but he
go.
won.
Right.
No, but his best season ever is with Chris Paul. Chris Paul makes bigs better players. Clint Capella's having one of the best seasons of his career. I just think because you have to just know where you come from. I use the Donald Trump son
Don't
example.
you? No.
His son, if he needs to make $1 million every year, if he doesn't, he's a crazy disappointment. If I make $150,000 this year, I'll be happy as pig and shit, whatever the analogy is, right? Just the analogy is Chris Paul, guys, he was a Hornet, a Pelican, and a Clipper.
Okay, Hornet and Pelican, it was just a name change. It wasn't 2 different teams.
But you know what I'm saying? That's a horrible organization.
He didn't do anything with that franchise either.
No, he took him to the playoffs.
If he's so great, then why hasn't he gone further in the
Because you need help. Everyone needs help.
So
Beans
why
needs
hasn't
help on
players come to him?
Yeah.
Atlantic High School, everyone needs help. If Coach Howard is an awesome coach, but if he doesn't have great players to coach, there's only so much you can do. I just feel like Chris Paul, no, I agree there is a little, he needs to win more. But now
He needs to win something, not more. He hasn't won
Talking about
anything.
something.
He had horrible organizations, horrible teams that he had to build up.
Andrew Luck had a terrible organization. Terrible.
You're using Andrew Luck. All your examples are like all
What,
time.
did he
all
not turn
time
that around?
It was only a year or two down from losing Peyton. It's not like he had like one bad year and then they got him. It wasn't
Terribly
like
run.
No,
I
but-
think Chris Paul is an older type point guard who dribbles the ball out of the air out of the ball instead of making that extra pass. And I think he's caught in a new generation, and all these new generation people have surpassed him.
So if Chris Paul for the next 4 seasons with Houston, with adding to James Harden's team, is James Harden's team 100% Houston's roster? If he goes to the Western Conference Finals 3 out of the 4 years, would that change your mind of underachieving with Chris Paul?
Probably, because it was smart. He went to, but for right now, given what he's done on his own, he's definitely underachieved.
If they go to the finals, he better get as much hate as Kevin Durant did.
Really? He's not on Kevin Durant's level.
Oh, well, I mean, he left and went to
And Kevin
well,
Durant-
Durant left a team that was in the finals
And a team that beat him.
and goes to the team that beat him. That's the
73 and
difference.
19.
hey man,
That's the difference.
Hey man,
I'm not
Guy's got hardware
disagreeing.
now.
I'm not disagreeing.
I got
but,
hardware.
But what about Allen Iverson?
What
He
about
didn't-
him?
I mean, he went
tread
to,
carefully. That's my guy.
He went to the finals.
he went to the
Allen Iverson.
finals, but I mean, he never won a championship.
You want to talk about an awful roster to go to the finals?
And he
Eric
went to the
Snow might have been
finals.
No, I
his
know.
next best player.
Beans, what makes you think Chris Paul's underachieved? There
Just
has to
like
be
you
something.
said, like he don't win. Like he win, but it's like when we get to the playoffs, he be losing.
Yeah, it's just you have the ingredients to win, and you just don't get it done time and time and time.
So
and
he
time again.
overachieves in the regular season and underachieves in the
Yes.
playoffs.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
His name always pops up. Oh, this amount of assists, or this amount of wins in the regular
He's
season.
all, I mean,
Yeah, he
for
be
me,
leading.
he's probably top 10 point guard of all time.
Oh.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
He's a top 5 point guard of all time.
Oh, man, there's some
Chris Paul.
good point guards.
And then
Right.
this is the most underrated part about Chris Paul's game: his defense.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think basketball, the most underrated part about basketball itself is defense. Like, you got to think that defense is 50% of the game. Tom Brady will throw. Tom Brady is not playing any defense. He's an offensive player that's always got defense. You score, you shoot, you pass, and then you run your ass back. You got to guard, box out, take a charge, defense. That's 50% of the game. Chris Paul is one of the best defending point guards of all time.
Won't get an argument from me there.
Yeah, no, he is. He's great.
Okay.
Damn.
So
Chris
I-
Paul, that shit gets me heated up every single time.
No, I'm telling you, he's just he's underachieved.
I just think it's funny that if the next 2-3 years, I think it's going to change your mind because the Rockets will win playoff series. It's going to happen.
I think they'll go to the Western Conference Finals this year.
And I'm throwing this out there too. I think they have a legitimate chance against Golden State. No one else thinks that.
No.
I think they
In
got
the
a legitimate
series?
shot. Yeah, in a series. And I think they're going to win
No, I don't think
2-3
that.
games against Golden State.
No, they'll probably win like
they'll win a
2.
couple
They'll
games,
win
but
like
to make
2.
it a series, it has to go past 6. I don't think they're gonna.
A 6-game series, that's a big series.
Well, in
I
their conference, it's anybody game because everybody's stacked.
I just don't think you could beat the Warriors at what they're good at. You can't beat them what the Warriors do. You have to be physical. You have to be big. That's how Cleveland beat them that one year. They were just physical and big, and they attacked the paint. And they
And
played.
Kyrie Irving hit the best shot ever.
Yeah. But okay, so Coach, we asked you to give us your favorite sports moment ever before we started,
Padlock moment.
and then of course Beans, you're following up after that, and then as always we'll all get locked in. So what is your favorite sports moment?
Mine is probably last year. We went and played Creek, my JV against Creek's JV, and Coach Krager at Creek, me and him have a good rivalry, and we're good friends at the same time. But we were both 16-0 going in that last game. 5:30 game. We got there at 4, and there were 150 people waiting to get
I remember,
in,
yeah.
which was I've never seen that for a JV game. And we ended up beating them by I think about 10 to finish undefeated. Creek finished 16-1, and that's probably the best moment that I've had, just because there was a lot of pressure with that group that I had. But yeah, that's probably my favorite sport moment.
That's deep. That game was insane. Even that JV game, it was just
Live.
yeah, and you can't lose the Creek.
No.
Anyway, let's go Beans.
Mine is when we played Creek my freshman year, and I hit them big time shots as a freshman, which I didn't know, but I was real nervous. And I went like 4 for 4, 5 for 5 down on the stretch from the free throw, and that helped us out a lot because it changed the momentum of the game. We ended up winning.
I was thanking the Lord. I was like, please, we cannot lose to Creek. I'm like, Beans, if you're going to do anything in life, hit these free throws. And he hits all of them. I'm like, let's go.
I love how people thank the Lord in a basketball game hitting foul shots.
Jesus understands.
Yeah, I was just
Jesus
like,
totally
I think he was a
understands.
basketball fan back
Yeah,
I was
then.
like,
yeah.
please, it's not the Creek. And no offense to Creek, but obviously when I'm playing, you don't want to lose to them. And I was just like,
It's
yes.
okay to give offense to Creek. That's okay. We're okay with that.
Okay, Chase.
Okay.
We're all Atlantic alums, you know.
Yeah. Okay, now it's time to get locked in.
Okay, cool.
Who wants the floor? You got it?
Oh, I'll take it.
Go. It's
Okay.
yours.
You know I like to shoot. I'll take the ball. Off script. This is going to include you, Max. I think that my locked in is that you and I will do a locked in live episode podcast with the Atlantic Sharks at Lakeland this year or next year. I just
like
bring
that.
the heat.
I like
bring
that.
the heat.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that one.
No,
I bring the heat.
that's the best locked in I've ever heard. I'm literally speechless, and I can't stop talking.
You're welcome.
We would have to talk to Lakeland's management or whoever runs that, but I am more than down for that. That would be incredible. And my locked in was actually similar to yours in a way that I felt I don't ever want to say the regular season doesn't matter, especially in high school when you only have a few limited games. Every game matters. But I think you guys will get through this slump that you're in. If it's correct to say slump, it's only 3 games. But for you guys with such high expectations, I would classify it as a slump. I think you guys will get through that. And I think, as Dave mentioned, we'll see you guys in Lakeland. And maybe that's the game we bring out the locked-in T-shirts. That was going to be my locked-in, is the team's going to wear locked-in T-shirts for that game.
If we go to Lakeland, we'll make that happen.
I'm about to cry. All right, Beans, you're next. What's your locked-in?
Going to Lakeland and winning.
Speak it into existence. All 3 of us said it has to be true. Let's go, Coach.
like
My locked
Lakeland.
in is that there will be multiple teams from Volusia County and Lakeland.
Whoa. So you're thinking, let me just
But
guess,
now
mainland?
I'm gonna say boys and girls. I think there'll be multiple teams in Lakeland.
What's the best girls basketball team around?
Coach Ham has Creek's
Yeah,
girls
Creek?
playing
Yeah,
at a
he had us
high
in.
level. I think they got a chance.
Locked-in alum.
I'll be honest. I think Coach Gaines has a chance if his boys keep buying
That was
in.
his locked-in.
I think he's got a chance to get there. I mean, he knocked off the number 5 team in the state in his class by like 15. at
Yeah, we
home.
were there. It was,
So,
Yeah, that game was-
and you know, I think whoever comes out of our district got a chance.
that's
So,
awesome.
I mean, if I'm a betting man, I'm putting money on the Sharks. But
Smart
that's
man.
that's my locked in. I think multiple teams will be in Lakeland from Volusia County.
I love it. Produce.
I'm going to call back to a little part of what a locked in I had before. I think I had the Cavs not making.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I think it's
I try
going
to forget about that
Yeah.
one. Keep going.
I think I might put Golden State out too.
Whoa, I like that. Houston's got a shot. I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, guys. Houston has a
I'm just
shot.
I watched I watched the basketball game this year. I watched the Boston Golden State this weekend.
He's watched one, guys.
If you get this right, if you get this right, it'll be locked in with Sean. Like
Right.
that's what it has to go.
Well, no,
Max
I mean
Dave will be producing.
it was a good game between Boston and Golden State, but I think the West it's so tough that
Yeah.
I think in a 7-game series, I think Houston could possibly give them a run for their money, and maybe it's just part hopeful. I mean, I'm not looking forward to another Golden State Cleveland finals.
I am, but yeah, I get what you're saying. And I think if any team can do it in the West, it's obviously the Rockets because they
Yeah, it would
think
be
they actually
Houston.
can beat them.
I
So
think
that
they
mentality
can.
is huge.
I think if they can put it together and put a good series together, I think they've got definitely have a shot.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say, you got something?
Yeah. You guys throw out all your promotional Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anytime Atlantic Sharks, any kind of information.
Yeah, where can we
Floor
find out when
is
the
yours.
games are, when
Schedules,
we
all
can
that.
come up, all that stuff?
We have a website, atlsharks.com. It's got our schedule up there. It's got all the information on our guys, all that up there. We got links to their huddle and stuff like that, so colleges can see them and everything on there. And then I want to give a shout out to 386 Hoop Scene.
Yes.
They are providing coverage for basketball that we haven't had. So
That's awesome.
No disrespect to the News Journal, but hard to pick a Fab Five when
We call
you've
them all
only
out.
seen- only when
News
you
Journal sucks.
I've
I'm
called
calling
out
on that
DJ
crap.
Tremble.
Gee whiz. Yep.
I've called out. Now we've called out the News Journal,
Yep.
and I've called out the referee that ref that game.
Yeah,
So-
man, you're on fire today. But I mean, when you've only seen maybe 4 or 5 basketball games all year, I don't know really how you pick a Fab Five out of that.
No. Yeah. It's
So 386 is doing a pretty good job. They do a Player of the Week, so Shout out to Colin and Jayla Adams from Spruce Creek who just won it after she
She had 44 points and
11
11
threes. She was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's WNBA.
FAU got a steal there.
Where can we find you? I know you go Instagram Live all the time. So where can they find you on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff?
I don't be on social media like that no more, actually.
You're done. Zero Dark 30?
No, I be on it, but I don't be on like going live and stuff no more. I just be on it to be on it sometimes.
You didn't have a phone for like a month and a half, so that's probably why.
Okay. Well, they can find you in the gym. How about that?
Atlantic
High School gym?
Every day, 24/7.
Sounds good. Well, it's a pleasure to have you guys in. I hope to have both of you in again. And then any Atlantic player that wants to come through, especially if they want to come with you, because we put them on the spot with the mic. I understand that. It can get a little frightening. But you're welcome to come by. So I appreciate you guys stopping by and getting locked in.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. You now locked in with the best. We ain't rocking with the rest. And when it's game time, we gon' put you to the test. Come to ball, we hitting it, kicking it, or we dribbling, passing it, or we running, or it's the ring that we flip you in. So what's the news? You want the scoop? You gotta keep it locked. To David Max podcast through your speaker box. What's poppin', my friend? You know the drop in. And the only thing left to do is keep it locked in.